Good morning, English language learners. I am Arham, and today I welcome you to the second part of our weather and time vocabulary series. Last class we had looked at quite a number of weather words. In this class we'll be looking at time words and also wrapping up our lesson. So, the sheet that you will have with you starts from part G. Now, I want to tell you why this is important. Why is it important to know the times of day? So, for example, if I ask you what time do you have dinner, many of you would say at night. And when many of us say the same thing, usually, yes, it becomes part of our common usage or part of our, daily vernacular. But sometimes it is more expressive, especially in writing, to use variants of these words or different words. So that's what you're going to be learning today. Alright, so part G, let's just come to it. I have it right here. All it's asking you to do is, what do you do at this part of the day? So it's given you a nice list of words that you can use in replacement of certain times. So instead of saying night, you can be more specific and you could say twilight, because perhaps you sleep towards midnight, but towards evening, which is twilight, you have your supper. So now we have more clearer and more distinguished, demarcated versions of the night, right? And that becomes more descriptive, that becomes more expressive, that becomes a lot more even useful to give those kind of guidelines, those kind of time marks for your reader or for your audience. So, I don't think we need to go through a lot of these. I'll just look at a few. First light is the first light of the day. You can think about it in Karachi, it's approximately at 6 a.m. Then you have dawn, which is very similar, it's a synonym. Sunrise is also very similar. Then we have twilight. Twilight, I think we all, given the fact that the book series is so famous, twilight is the time when usually wolves change, werewolves. Twilight is the time when humans would turn into werewolves. So that's kind of where that comes from. Alright, a lot of these you may be familiar with, so let's go on to part H. Part H is asking you to make sentences with these time-related words. Now, these words are slightly more advanced, so I want to go through them with you. First one is crepuscular. Crepuscular basically just means relating to twilight, and it is an adjective. So, you want to have a look how perhaps you can use this. Cockcrow is the time when the cock-a-doodle-doos make that cock-a-doodle-doo sound. So that's again in the morning, approximately 6 a.m. or so. Avo. Avo is afternoon. Then we have circadian. Now circadian is a word that I think I'm going to throw at you to find out. Usually it's used with reference to our inner circadian rhythms. Alright, so our circadian rhythms are our natural sleep cycles, or okay. Circadian, I'll give you a little bit of a hint of what this is, but it's a good idea to look it up and then write the meaning and put your appropriate sentence as well. So, you have a test the next day, supposing you sleep very late, you have not gotten your 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. So what do? Do you end up oversleeping? It's very unlikely that you will end up oversleeping. That's because our body has an inner clock. It is an internal clock and it helps us to wake up or know the time. Sometimes we have a nap or we go to sleep and we wake up and we kind of have a fair idea what the time would be, right? That we've slept for 30 minutes or we slept for an hour. This again is due to the circadian rhythms within our body. Alright, the next word is nocturnal. I'm quite sure you may know this, but it is contrasted or an antonym for the next word, which is diurnal, right? Which is contrasted with a word cathemeral, which maybe you can also look at. Okay, happy hour. Happy hour is you may have heard of Happy Meal of McDonald's. It's a time where restaurants and businesses, usually bars, they give you a complimentary or free service or free product, maybe a free Pepsi or free chips. So it's usually 1 hour of the week. The next word is matutinal. Alright, so matutinal is again to do with, you may have heard of the word matinee. Matinee, it is to do with morning. Alright, the next word is in the broad daylight or in broad daylight. Then we have in the dead of night. In the dead of night, I want you to be thinking about what tone or mood or atmosphere is being created when I say in the dead of the night I crept out of bed, as opposed to perhaps in the evening I crept out of bed, or at night I crept out of bed. So it does create this rather more enhanced sense of suspense, which perhaps you can note and you can use effectively in your creative writing and in your stories. Alright, then we have the witching hour. Why don't you have a look at this? The witching hour is very, again, interesting, similar tone, similar impression, similar mood, atmosphere that is created with this particular phrase as well. We have the gloaming. Gloaming has to do with dusk. It has to do with the darkness, and it's again a time which is related to more subdued light. The last word is undated. So if something has no date on it, it is undated. You want to see how perhaps you could use this word. The most common usage is if you have a planner, if you have a journal or a diary, and you know it says Monday 1st of January 2020, that is a dated calendar or a dated journal. Whereas you could just have Monday 1st, and that is you know, a non-dated journal. And in that way, you may find that also useful. Okay. Our second last activity is activity I. Now this one is something I hope that all of you are familiar with. It's an easy concept. All it means is show, don't tell. You may have heard this again and again and again and again, this again and again and again and again and again by your teachers. But I'm here to tell you again what it means. That was a lot of again. Alright, so it basically means that in your writing, sometimes you need to create pictures rather than create words. I know that sounds counterintuitive, it sounds odd and perhaps like a paradox or an oxymoron, that how should we create pictures with words? But that is fairly what I mean, because you know the best experience, and you may have lots of people who agree with this, is when you see something. A picture is worth 1,000 words, they say, right? So when you see one particular film or one particular photo or one particular just you know, portrait, a painting, you get so many ideas, because every sense in you, all your 5 senses are activated, they're ignited. So basically, if you see a photo, you can also infer the texture of the shirt that the child is wearing, the color of his eyes, how tall or how short he is, and so on and so forth. So you get a good sense of depth and perspective, right? So when you create such images in your stories, in your written word, it is the closest we can get to creating pictures through our words, right? So I'll give you a very simple example of the first one, and hopefully you can do a more advanced and more elevated version from your own mind. Alright, so how would I tell that it's cold? I would say it was very cold. Alright, now this particular sentence is a very telling sentence. It's boring, it sounds like you know, normal ordinary words on a page, and it takes away or it disassociates all the other elements that would be required to make a picture, such as there is no character, there is no feeling in this particular sentence. So let's see another version. We could say that Ali was walking with his sweater pulled tightly around his body as his cheeks became red and his teeth chattered. Alright, so this particular sentence does a couple of things. It's creating more of an image. It's creating the image of this child Ali. It's showing us kind of the color of his cheeks. It's making us hear almost as if there's some background music that he's shivering, he's chattering, and we can also in our mind's eye start to create our own version of what kind of sweater is he wearing or what kind of clothes he's wearing. So all the more enhanced an image has been created now just by showing. Alright, so you would have to do the same in this particular exercise. The last exercise is kind of a consolidation of everything we've done. It says in your worksheet weather words, but you want to add time words as well. So you want to write a diary entry of approximately 300 words where we are incorporating a fair share of the words that we have learned so that you can retain these words in your memory. Alright, so you could write, dear diary, at midnight I heard a voice. Anyway, so it was lovely seeing you. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.